Oh, see? I knew it. I'm not real. I'm dead, and she doesn't know it. But she's gonna find out soon. Hi, hello, and welcome back. Or, if you are new here, welcome. My name is Heather, and this video is about weeks 26 through 28 of my treatment with Spravato. Spravato is an FDA-approved treatment for treatment-resistant depression that's derived from part of the ketamine molecule. It's a dissociative anesthetic, meaning it causes dissociation, and I also have a dissociative disorder. So in this series, I share my experiences and tips and tricks that I learn along the way, and my overall progress as I undergo this treatment. If you haven't seen my other Spravato videos, I've got a whole playlist of them, and I'll put a link up top and in the description of this video for you to check those out. Here's my list of tips and tricks for treatment for you to screenshot if you'd like. And be sure to check out this video where I go in depth as to why each of these things are on the list. I'll also have a link up top and in the description of this video to that one. Typically, I like to begin these videos with a recap of how things have been going for me outside of treatment. Like changes that I've noticed, improvements, setbacks, etc. But this past month has been totally off for me. As most of you know by now, Miss Finn died about a month ago. And I've been pretty preoccupied with grief since then and haven't been able to differentiate between my grief and any depression symptoms I might be having. Sorry about that. I know that isn't very helpful. A few of my depression symptoms have been creeping in a little over the last few months, which really isn't surprising because I live in the Pacific Northwest and have always had terrible seasonal depression. But I am still like 80 to 90% better than I would have been this time of year if I hadn't done Spravato. Without question. The two symptoms that I've noticed the most creeping up over the last few months have been increased fatigue, and I've also lost that general sense that things are going to be okay. I haven't felt down, depressed, or hopeless, haven't had any suicidal ideation, so that's good. But even though the symptoms that I've been having have been relatively mild, I still made my provider aware of them because obviously we don't want them to get any worse. And thankfully, my insurance approved me to temporarily increase the frequency of my treatments. So hopefully that helps. I think that it will, but we'll have to wait and see. Let's just get right into the treatments, shall we? I've got a little surprise for you guys. I recorded some of one of my treatments for you. I know that some of you are understandably worried about how intense or disorienting the treatment is. So, you are going to get to see what I'm like roughly 20 minutes after my third dose. So, like, right when it's at its most intense. Spravato fit check. Just a typical Western Washington winter morning. It's no wonder why my seasonal depression is kicking in. Once we got to the facility, I filled out a PHQ-9 like I do before every treatment, and then it was Spravato time.
Not for you, I love you, hug. Those green dots are gone, perfect.
Yeah, my last one. I don't know if it was something with the device or if it was me because I wasn't really paying attention, but somehow I just kind of half squirted it and most of it ended up on my fingers.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Good this time.
Good.
So how are you feeling?
Good.
Good. Pleasant experience?
Yeah, I have my playlist ready to go.
All the good stuff.
Finn, stay out of her lunch. I've taken all of my doses. This is me after.
Perfectly fine. Then we got her.
I'm still here. I'm not in a waking nightmare. I'm not blasting off into another reality. I can tell Scott is zooming in on me. Hey! I can see Scott. I just finished my treatment. Still feeling a little out of it, but I feel good. I didn't have a Spravato trip this time because the nurse and I talked about dogs the entire time, so still a good session. But yeah, now I want to try to find some food and coffee. And I spent the rest of the day just hanging out. Oh, Finn's giving it the business. And edited a video. Immediately following this treatment, my sense that things are going to be okay was back, which was very exciting, and it lasted for about 3 days. And then Miss Finn died. And, like I said, I've been pretty overcome with grief and can't really tell what my depression symptoms are like. Scott asked me if I think I'm handling it better than I would have if I hadn't done Spravato. And to be honest, I don't know. I've never experienced grief like this before, so I don't have anything to compare it to. However, I think it's safe to assume that Spravato has helped me through this because everything is harder and feels worse when you're depressed. But I don't really know. I didn't think it was even possible this late in the game, but this treatment was truly unlike any of the treatments I've had before, in every single way. Like, if I didn't know for certain that I had taken Spravato, I never would have believed that what I had was Spravato. I didn't do my usual routine of breathing exercises and guided meditations because right from the outset, things were weird. None of the things that I'm used to feeling and experiencing were happening. Instead, I experienced some very typical symptoms of depersonalization and derealization, but to a degree that I never have before. This is so hard to explain to someone who doesn't have DID or OSDD, but I felt very blended with someone else in my body. And I could feel everything they were feeling and hear everything they were thinking. And it was all, what am I doing here? I shouldn't be here right now. So there was that. Thankfully, that died down pretty quickly, and I felt mostly in the driver's seat again, but shit was weird. I remember feeling really small, like child-sized in the chair that I was in, and I remember looking down at my legs, and they looked really short, and my feet looked huge, and my hands were huge too. The proportions of my body were all off. And I remember looking around the room and wondering, like, is this real? Am I real? I didn't so much feel like I was in a dream as much as I felt like nothing was real. Not even me. I had to actually ask the nurse if I was real, because I wasn't sure. Eventually, the nurse came over to take my blood pressure and check my pulse. And for whatever reason, she decided to check my pulse manually. And she kept feeling around different spots on my wrist, trying to find a good spot. And for some reason, my brain went, oh, see, I knew it. I'm not real. I'm dead, and she doesn't know it. But she's going to find out soon. But before I could go too far down that rabbit hole, the nurse said, your blood pressure's good, your pulse is great, you're doing great. So I guess I'm real after all. If any of this stuff sounds scary, it wasn't. Like, even though it was really unlike anything I'd ever experienced before and kind of disorienting, I was still fully aware the whole time where I was, what I was doing, that I was under the effects of Spravato. I just didn't really understand why I was feeling the things that I was feeling or experiencing. At some point, I told the nurse that I had pretty bad health anxiety and that it was kind of kicking in because everything I was experiencing was unlike anything I'd experienced before. And she was great. She immediately was just reassuring me that I was safe, that my blood pressure was good, my heart was good, everything was fine. And she put on this YouTube video of beach wave sounds, but I had to end that pretty quickly because each wave sounded like it was getting louder and louder, and I started to feel like I was getting pulled into the waves somehow. I don't know. But she changed it to a guided meditation that actually helped a lot. And it wasn't the one that I normally do at the beginning of treatment. So I was a bit more at ease. But then I smacked my lips, and my lips felt massive. So that freaked me out and just elevated my anxiety a little bit. I just remember feeling like time was passing by really, really slowly, which usually it goes by fast for me. And it just wasn't wearing off at all. I had to actually stay 15 minutes longer than my appointment because it took that long for it to wear off enough to where I felt mostly back to normal. But even still, for the next 4 hours, I was still really out of it and really tired and just felt like I was heavily drugged. It was really bizarre. So what happened? I don't know. I don't know why this one was so completely different from all of my other treatments. The nurse thought it might have had something to do with the fact that I was sick. She also suspected that it could have been due to the fact that I was severely dehydrated, as evidenced by how long it took the medication to leave my system. And she reiterated just how important your state of mind is going into treatment, which I knew. It's one of my tips and tricks for treatment. But I mean, I am still grieving Finn. Actually, this was my first treatment since she died. But I don't know. As far as I'm aware, I wasn't really thinking about it going into treatment. I don't know. I'd love to hear what you guys think down in the comments. If you liked this video or found it helpful in any way, please consider liking it. It helps me out a lot.
Like, subscribe, comment, blah, blah, bloody blah. Thank you very much.
As always, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions for me, please leave them in the comments and I will respond to them. And with that, I hope you all have a great week and I'll be seeing you next week.